on your wrist, a plain giant.
The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy. What up and welcome back. It's your girl Jane, the plainest Jane, and we have some continuous coverage, some additional details that I want to get out to you with regards to Everette Jackson. You know, I've been diligently and very thoroughly covering this tragic situation out of Idaho, although Everette Jackson was a missing 21-year-old boy from Louisiana. He was last seen with his quote-unquote girlfriend, who you see on the thumbnail. His disappearance has been surrounded by a plethora of suspicion and foul play. The details of the family being denied an autopsy in the state of Idaho, we're going to get into that in this video. A very odd text message that Gracie sent Everette's mom before Everette was even located. So Everette wasn't found yet, so he was still technically declared missing rather than deceased. And Gracie sent an eerie text message prior to posting the eerie public message on her Instagram before she privated that. We're going to go over that and also the strange circumstances surrounding the person and the location where Everette was allegedly found, okay? And also the sheriffs are acting very shady following the discovery of his body. So come on and hit thumbs up on this video. You all know I'm very invested in this story and I haven't stopped researching it. And this may not be the last update video because the family is still seeking answers. They are still seeking justice and really fighting to get it. So let's get into this intro. Thank you so much for hitting thumbs up and sharing this video for anyone that you know who has been following this story.
The plainest Jane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some Black, and she said, loves me some Black news. She says, is it just me, or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
As always, before I get into covering any of my stories, make sure that you check on your mental health. I'm giving you a trigger warning. This is a tragic situation. Click away from this video if you really just are going to be triggered by another Black man who has went missing. And of course, make sure you subscribe and thumbs up or down. Either way, I appreciate it. But don't forget to think critically and independently, regardless of what you hear from me or anybody else. Now, without further ado, let's continue because a lot of us have been giving Gracie the side eye. Gracie being Everette Jackson's former girlfriend, right? So I'm going to get into this text message. The mom was able to share this information with a trusted individual. And here's what it is. It says, on Saturday evening, June 11th at 6:45 p.m., Gracie sends Everette's mother a text that seems oddly final when Everette hasn't even been found yet. And Gracie says the following, quote, "You and your family are in my thoughts. I have some pictures of Everette I would love to share with you. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to date your son. He was one of the best things that has ever happened to me. I'm so sorry for what had happened. He treated me like a princess." Now, the question is, does this sound like the verbiage that someone would be using if they were keeping hope alive, if they were looking and hoping to find him? Similar to Gracie and what she had to say in the Instagram post that she left, she was speaking in past tense, almost as if she knew he wasn't going to reappear, at least alive anyway. Again, we've been over this last and final Instagram post that Gracie had posted, and it was filled with suspicion. And again, it was filled with the thought that Everette Jackson is not coming home, at least not alive anyway. Just to go over it really quickly, she says, I'm at a loss for words right now. 6/11/22 will be a date I never forget. Now, if your man was missing, if your significant other was missing, why would a certain day be a day that you would never forget? You know, that just doesn't make sense. And she says, Everette Jackson, thank you for caring for me, loving me, and making me feel beautiful inside and out. You're so special to me. You'll forever be in my thoughts, and you'll always be mine. You're a strong human being, and I aspire to have the heart that you have. This isn't fair. It doesn't make sense. I love you, my every boy. Give me a sign that you're okay. My boo bear, come back so we can get married, honey bunny. This definitely sounds more like an obituary and a farewell message to someone that's no longer with us, right? And that's something that we were able to uncover in parts 1 and 2 when I got into my thorough coverage on this, right? I want to get into something else that I found to be really interesting. And then we're going to get into something and really pull back the layers on how or why actually the autopsy is being denied. And I'm going to get into some information from a civil rights activist who has been working in close proximity with Everette Jackson's family, right? So it says late Sunday, the Jim County Sheriff, they break news to the world. A volunteer, right? This is the person who located Everett's body. A volunteer, not anyone from the sheriff's office, found Everett's body. And again, Everett was found just 2 miles away from where Gracie claims, well, he was allegedly last seen. And so he was clinging to a branch. The sheriff's deputy tells the family he wasn't going to do an autopsy. And the sheriff says, quote, it wasn't necessary to do an autopsy, right? Just 2 miles away from where he was last sighted, he was found. And I find that to be interesting. And I'm going to tell you why. The family asks to go to where Everett's body was found, and the sheriff deputy won't take him there. Everett's family is confused. They're grieving. And, you know, I just, between a volunteer finding the body just 2 miles away, between the sheriffs literally refusing to allow the family to go to the site, what's the reason for that? It's all public property, right? The actual river. Now, some of the docks, the alleged dock, some of those things might be private property, but I just don't understand why. It's just not making sense, right? And I'm leaving room for you to conspire with what you theorize may have happened, right? Because it definitely seems like they're hiding something, without a doubt. Now, here's the reason why I find the proximity of where the body was located to be very interesting. The Cajun Navy was on this case with the family. The sheriff's office wasn't doing much of anything at all. The Cajun Navy was called, and they came out pretty quickly to assist the family in the search of Everette Jackson. And they are very thorough. And I mean very thorough. And they did a full search far beyond 2 miles. So how is it that he was just found 2 miles away? No one, no volunteer, no Cajun Navy. I'm talking boats, drones, everything. No one found that. And suddenly he's clinging to a tree. It's very interesting because Gracie said he went under and he never resurfaced. So if he's clinging to a tree and he's found a whole week later, you would think they would have been spotted that body. And if he would have passed on clinging to that tree, maybe trying to float, although he was a strong swimmer, you would have think that his body would have been clinging to that tree the entire time. I want to get into how the family was denied an autopsy, because that's the really eerie part. An autopsy is really going to give us far more information than we have available here on the surface from the outside looking in, to let us really know how severe was his body decomposed? You know, what was the actual cause of death? This is going to answer some of the questions that Gracie can't answer, or she refuses to answer. So, and again, this is why a lot of people get into the theory that he was put there, It's really, really, really interesting. So let's get into what a civil rights activist had to say about this situation. And thank you all for being here this evening. I know that it is a Thursday, it's a weekday, and there's a lot going on right now, but it was definitely my duty to get this information out, okay? Let's get into the next piece of information that I want to go ahead and get to you all. Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news. When we get into what is going on with the denied autopsy, why, what are the details surrounding that, right? Let's get into this. I'm going to zoom in so that we can read this clearly and it's legible for all of us to go through this together. Now, this is a civil rights activist, and this is something that was actually reposted by Everett's family. Foul play suspected in the death of LSU Eunice star basketball player Everette Jackson. Emmett, Idaho, right? Idaho coroner denied requests for an autopsy from family and stated they would need to embalm Everette right away. I'm calling all LSU alumni to support the family in getting an autopsy to put his family at ease and give them the comfort in their time of grief. Don't y'all find that suspicious? Also, all jokes aside, but in my Dr. Umar voice, y'all don't find that suspicious? Y'all don't find that suspicious that they want to embalm this young man's body right away, revoking the opportunity for anyone to investigate and really find any preliminary causes of death? Y'all don't find that suspicious? I do. But let's continue. Too many inconsistencies in the story told by Mr. Jackson's girlfriend, Gracie, to only go by her word. Also, there was a witness that told a different account in reference to the number of people present. Again, I went over this in parts 1 and 2 in the videos that I've done. There was a witness that told a different account in reference to the number of people who were present. The girlfriend's parents, as well as herself, have sent up fundraisers, right? Remember, I was telling you they set up fundraisers, but here's what someone, again, in close proximity to the family is saying. Although Gracie's folks set up fundraisers, the family says they didn't endorse those fundraisers and they only received a small portion of the funds. What's worse, this isn't the first time it's happened. More details to come as this civil rights activist continues to conduct an investigation. This case should be looked at as a potential homicide until proven otherwise. I call on the state of Idaho to take this case, as the town of Emmett, Idaho is labeled as a sundown town. And he continues and says, yes, sundown towns still exist in 2022. So my question to you all is, what do you all think about this situation? What do you all think? It absolutely is suspicious. And I see a lot of people making a lot of sense in the chat. Isn't an autopsy standard? You would think so, but when a Black man goes missing and when a Black man passes on, I just posted another story on the In the Know Radio Instagram page of another a man who was actually a father of 3 and was in the military, found hanged in the middle of a park in Pennsylvania on Juneteenth. The cops told his mom, this was a suicide and we're not doing an autopsy. The case is closed. How do you determine that right away? So this is what happens when Black and brown folk have an unfortunate situation. The family literally has to fight for basic humane rights. This is really, I was about to use the word interesting, but it's more eerie and it's more disturbing than anything. History does nothing but repeat itself. And not only was Everette in this case a strong swimmer, not to say accidents can't happen with strong currents. Black folk, we not just out here hanging ourselves. That ain't how we go. But nonetheless, one thing that I do want to bring to your attention, because the family is looking and asking for help, okay? There is another GoFundMe that the family has started. The initial GoFundMe, the GoFundMe website, they can be pretty strict on how they allow people to accept donations. And the original GoFundMe for Everette Jackson, it was for lodging costs and for the family to drop everything that they were doing to travel to Idaho right away. They reached their goal, and due to the fact that when Everette was found deceased, it was closed. They've opened a new GoFundMe and they're asking for help for the funeral and burial expenses, but also for an independent autopsy and for ongoing investigators. And as a matter of fact, the family released a statement that said something, and I'm paraphrasing, that I saw earlier today, that all of those expenses and all the funds in the original GoFundMe were exhausted from private investigators and traveling costs, so on and so forth. So they can't just depend on Idaho's system to bring them justice for Everette Jackson. So what I've done is I've put the link down below in the description box if you want to donate to assist this family and all that they need to do to give Everette a proper burial, to get an independent autopsy, and to conduct their own independent investigation. Please feel free to donate. It is the very first link down below in the description box, and it is different from the initial GoFundMe because the initial GoFundMe has been shut down, if that makes sense. However, I can say without a doubt, The one down below in the description box is the only one. I've seen a lot of foul stuff on the GoFundMe website. There's just a lot of random people setting up GoFundMes, and some people have donated, and they're not for the family at all. So these are random people trying to grift off of a deceased Black person. Really disgusting. So you can trust the link down below in the description box. It is going straight to Everette Jackson's family, and I can confirm that myself. I have had correspondence with the family. So this is really interesting. Okay. I find it to be sad. I don't know why this story sticks with me so much. As I stated in parts 1 and 2, it very much does remind me of Kawan Bobby Charles, which is another case that I covered very extensively. And I want to know you all thoughts about it. And I wanted to do my due diligence and finished wrapping up this situation that I began covering with regards to Everette Jackson. Yes, his name was Dante Jones, the other gentleman in Pennsylvania who was found hanged in Pennsylvania on Juneteenth. That's just not what we do. But we know it's not easy for us to get justice. Justice is not a right of ours as Black people here in America. The country was founded off of the harm and the violence to us and our oppression, essentially. But nonetheless, I want to go ahead and wrap this video up. Please tell me all of your thoughts. Keep it respectful, right? I really don't. What I'm going to ask when you all do leave comments underneath of this video, please don't mention any mediums. Please don't mention any tarot card readers, because the family has already asked that people stop. I saw some of those comments under the last video, even though I mentioned the family just wants, random people trying to just pull cards and just predict and do all this psychic stuff. And it's just too much energy pulling at Everette. And the family has asked for you all to be respectful. So I'm not saying I can stop any psychics or mediums or tarot card readers from doing that, but please don't mention that in these comment sections. It is very likely that Everette Jackson's family may come across this video, and I want the comments to be as decent as possible, because they are still grieving right now. Okay. But I am interested in knowing what you respectfully think. Keep in consideration the family could be seeing your comments. I'm curious to know a lot of you all thoughts. There's a lot of conversation happening about this and a lot of different theories that people have. For me, again, the Cajun Navy, very thorough, very militant, obviously, right? Kate, the Navy, they're very thorough. Why? How would his body only be 2 miles away and hanging on to a tree or a branch? There's something strange about that, not to mention the very odd text message that Gracie sent Everette's mother. One thing that really broke my heart about this story was when Gracie visited Everette in Louisiana, they treated her like family, and they sent her back in one piece, and they cared for her, but they couldn't get the same in return when it came to Everette Jackson coming back home. Not to mention all the inconsistencies in Gracie's story, all the inconsistencies in Gracie's parents' story, and the inconsistencies from the 911 caller themselves. Was it just Gracie and Everette out there? Was it 5 of them out there? There's a lot that doesn't make sense. And of course, I have additional information, but I just don't want to spend too much time speculating out of respect for the family. So yeah, someone says tarot card reader. Yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff. So, listen, Stickies, thank you all so much for coming through. I'm going to be back very shortly on the backup channel. If you're not already subscribed to the backup channel, make sure you do so. It is the 4th link down below in the description box. We're going to be over there, and I'm going to post on the community tab, so that you are able to just kind of sit back and get into something a bit more positive. We're going to do the verses on the backup channel. So I'm looking forward to just having a good time, letting loose, and going back to the 99s in the 2000s, just to really kind of take this story has been pretty heavy for me, but I definitely felt like I had to do my due diligence in covering this story and at least finishing up my coverage. But if I get any additional information, if I come across anything else, if we come across autopsy results that are made public, I'm going to be right back here to give you those updates. So if you haven't already taken that moment to subscribe, make sure you do so. Thank you so much for hitting the thumbs up button. That means a lot as well. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for checking out the community tab if you haven't already. And listen, be sure to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the breaking Black news and celebrity updates that I'm dishing over here. You know, the syrup is always sticky. And I'm pretty balanced over here. I'll give you some entertainment. I'll give you some real stuff and get serious for a minute, like what this coverage has been. But it's a pretty well-rounded plethora of Black news that you're going to get over here from your girl, the Plainest Jane. So listen, you all stay beautiful, Black, and blessed. I'm going to see y'all I'm going to change my shirt because I ain't trying to get no sweat marks in my polo shirt. Okay. As we get lit, and just dance and sing a little bit and have a good time for the verses. So I hope that y'all have an amazing evening. I know that this is a heavy story, but find some balance. Do something to kind of uplift you. If you're not going to go back and watch one of my other entertainment videos to make you just laugh and take your mind off of this a bit, definitely feel free to join us on the verses stream that we're going to be getting into momentarily. Okay? Y'all stay beautiful, Black, and blessed into the next video, and I'm going to see y'all shortly. Deuces. But that's it. If you want to catch more of my commentary on Black culture or vital and trending information, be sure to subscribe by hitting that little circle in the middle of the screen, or I'll catch you in one of these rectangles to the right in another video. I'll see you there.